If you like money and fantasy football, you're going to love this free offer to make money with DraftStreet.com. In fact, you've got a chance to win my money because I'm running a $300 league today where the top 7 finish in the money. Hi guys, Al DeMarco here, and today you'll be competing against my team and amongst yourselves to win my money. Fantasy sports have changed over the years, making them more lucrative. No more waiting to get paid at the end of the season. With DraftStreet.com, you get instant gratification. Here's the deal. Go to DraftStreet.com right now. Enter this code, DeMarco, my last name. That's going to get you access to my league today. Entry costs absolutely nothing. It's free to play for a shot at winning my money. You have a $100,000 salary cap to draft your team. You've got until the 1 p.m. Eastern Time kickoffs to set your roster, and the winners will be determined when the Monday night game is over. Remember, the top 7 finish in the money with my $300 at stake. Go to DraftStreet.com, use the passcode DeMarco, build your team now. Welcome back, everyone, to the Countdown to Kickoff show. Al DeMarco along with Steve Budin, the only nationally televised show that breaks down every single one of your NFL games on a Sunday from a point spread perspective. We're going to pick it up with a key contest in the AFC North, that one being between Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. But first, want to talk about fantasy football. You know, all season long, we've been promoting a free contest we run every weekend at DraftStreet.com where $300 of my money is at stake. Top 7 finish in the money. It costs you nothing to enter. You just go to DraftStreet.com, use my last name, DeMarco, to enter the contest. And this is unlike anything that you're probably used to because this isn't like your father's fantasy football where you had to wait till January. Steve, this is a game that pays out right after the Monday night game.
Right, so 2 big things. The first one you mentioned, that it's completely free. The second one is that you win money right now, not at the end of the year. You don't wait and continue to redraft. You win right now. And that's why we love DraftStreet.com so much, is because for gamblers like us, we're in action every single week with fantasy rather than it used to be across the whole entire season, which really didn't play for guys like us.
No, instant gratification. In fact, last week, and of course it's my money that's on the table here, so unfortunately last week, I did okay. I finished 24th. The week before I was 4th. The week before that I was 137th, but we'll just gloss over that. A guy by username Big Hoot won the contest last week, 180 total points. A guy with a username of Big 045 finished second, 8 points behind. The guy that won the contest last week, Tom Brady and Drew Brees as his quarterbacks. Let's see, that's 7 touchdowns passing, like 75% completions, 700 and some yards. I think I know why he won the contest last week. So it's a free contest once again over at DraftStreet.com. All you've got to do, go to DraftStreet.com, enter my last name, DeMarco, and that will get you free entry in the contest. You've got until 1 o'clock Eastern Time today to draft your team. You've got a $100,000 bankroll. You act as general manager. You have to draft a couple quarterbacks, a couple running backs, a couple wide receivers, a tight end. You put your team together. It takes less than 10 minutes. And again, $300 of my money at stake, top 7 finish in the money. And lately, that hasn't been me and you.
No, and if you're on our site, you can also just click on the Draft Street advertisements that you see all over our site. That'll take you to the Draft Street page. And from there, you can click on a link that'll take you right to enter the contest. You got to remember to put in the name DeMarco when you're prompted for the code.
Guys, and again, $300 of my money at stake, and the top 7 finish in the money. And I'll be lucky if I finish in the top 20 this week, the way things are going. Next game on the board is going to be Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. The Bengals had to rally at home last week to beat the Browns after consecutive losses to the Ravens and these same Steelers. Andy Dalton in the first game, 2 critical fourth quarter interceptions that allowed the Steelers to get the win and cover in that game. Pittsburgh, a very lethargic effort. Last Sunday, we saw at Kansas City a 13-9 win. This is a tough game, although I do lean a little toward the Steelers here, who have won 6 of their last 7, with the only loss coming in the final minute at home against Baltimore.
Well, we talked about that Cincy-Cleveland game last week, and I told you that Cleveland, treats that like the Ohio Super Bowl. If they get up for no other game, they get up for that game. I think that's why we saw them play so well. So I wouldn't hold it against Cincinnati that it was so hard for them to beat Cleveland. They're having a dynamic year. It's all about defense for them. But look, whenever you have Pittsburgh coming off of an embarrassing play where either they won or they lost, but they didn't play so well, and they're coming home, they always seem to do well in that game. This is one of those scenarios. Didn't have the greatest game last week against Kansas City. They now come home, and I think they're going to crush this team. I would bet the Steelers and lay the big wood here.
Everybody talks about the Bengals being such a great play as a dog, and they have gone 6-1-1 against the spread their last 8 as a dog. The only loss came against the Steelers 3 weeks ago, and the Steelers have won and covered 8 of the last 10 in the series. I'm with you. I think Pittsburgh is the way to go in this contest. Here you have Team Schizophrenic. I warn you about this every single week. Thanksgiving, I told you they would come out, play strong, and beat San Francisco. They did 16-6. Dominating defensive performance by the Ravens that night with 9 quarterback sacks of Alex Smith, but now they're on the road. And which team are you going to get here, Steve? I mean, is this going to be the team that lost to Tennessee, the team that lost at Seattle, the team that lost to Jacksonville? I mean, you just don't know what you get with the Ravens, but you know what you get with the Browns, and that ain't much.
Yeah, it's pretty much Brown. So at the end of the day, look, Baltimore, too late in the season to be playing this Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde stuff. Obviously, they've showed up for the big games. They haven't showed up for the games that really weren't important to them. This is a team that's tough to get up for, but I think it's late enough in the season that Baltimore, they can see the light at the end of the tunnel. They know they're going to have a heavy playoff run this year. I think they come in prepared, focused. I think they blow this team out. I'm laying the 6.5 points with Baltimore.
Yeah, I agree with you. In this particular case, I'll take Team Schizophrenic on the road. They have won and covered 6 straight in the series. And Ray Rice, his last 5 games against the Browns, has really been productive, averaging 88 yards a game, 5 yards a carry. And as I've said repeatedly this year, the key for Baltimore is you do not want Joe Flacco throwing the ball 52 times. You got to have a balanced play called attack. You need Ray Rice carrying that ball 20 times. They do that today. I think they get the win. And if the defense delivers against Colt McCoy, it's going to be a long day for the Brownies. Jets and Washington. This is going to be my upset special of the week. I told you last week I thought Seattle was a good play at home against Washington, but as the week went on and the day went on, I just kept thinking to myself, you know, that's a scary game. What happens? Redskins down 10 in the 4th, they come back and win the game. You know, Washington is getting healthy. Moss is back. They've got a ground game now. The rookie, Hillu out of Nebraska, 108 yards rushing last week. Jets haven't shown me anything on the road this year, and they didn't show me anything last week. I mean, Mark Sanchez had one of the all-time worst 4-touchdown pass games.
Even when his stats look good, he looks like he's at, you know.
He's lost.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so I think grabbing the 3, buying up the half point to 3.5, and going to Washington's the way to go.
Yeah, you know, I would tend to agree. You know, the Jets are not that impressive to me in the entire season. Look, at the end of the day, Sanchez, a ton of pressure this year. Last 2 years, it was his first 2 years as a quarterback. No one really expected much, and he overachieved. This year coming in, it was all lights and all pressure on him. This was supposed to be his big year, his breakout year, when he would actually take them to the Super Bowl. It didn't happen that way. He hasn't handled the pressure in New York well. I think that's not good news for the Jets. I'm going with Washington here. You know, that's the way to go.
Yeah, and listen, the Jets are 1-5 against the spread. Their last 6 versus the NFC. They also don't run the ball efficiently, and their defense overrated. Has not delivered like everybody thought it would this season.
Here's one of those scenarios where I would buy the half a point with Washington. This game could come down to the very last play, could come down to an overtime scenario. You want that extra half a point here.
Absolutely. Even if you are paying an extra 20 cents on the dollar, absolutely buy up the half point if you're on the Redskins. The final game of this segment is going to be Tampa Bay and Carolina. 3rd straight road game for the Panthers, who beat Indianapolis last week. So what? Tampa Bay's at home, including the game in London. The Bucs have been on the road for the last 5 games. I actually like Tampa Bay to finally win a game in this spot, even though they are just 5-15 against the spread at home during Raheem Morris's coaching tenure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, going out of the country, going across the country every week. They have actually had the worst schedule of any other team, and I think that's why they're having such a bad year. I don't think it comes down to personnel. I actually like the players on this team. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay also. I think this is the spot for them to win at home. They'll be happy to be there.
I mean, this is too talented of a team to have lost 5 in a row. But they played a killer schedule this year. So, again, and I'm just not convinced Carolina, you know, their defense, it's worse than Tampa. So that's why I think you go with Tampa. And here, again, you buy down the half point in case this is a field goal game. You walk away with the win rather than the push. Guys, in our final segment, you want to go over to the website. That's where we're going to talk about New Orleans and Detroit, San Francisco, St. Louis, Dallas, Arizona. You can catch any part of this show that you missed in its entirety over at the website as well, free of charge. We'll catch you next week here on the Countdown to Kickoff. Al DeMarco for Steve Budin.